Right, so let's kick this one off. First support call on the main specific Cliff Notes concepts. There are a few common concepts though on the three domains, right? So yes, please, Jan-Erik, Adam, or Nadia, ladies first. If you want to shoot at us any questions, please go ahead.
I have no questions at the moment.
Good. So we have been crystal clear last time. I wasn't too dense. That was the proper level of information you needed at this time. Have you had the time to scroll through the documentation?
Not really.
Okay. Good. Thanks. Jan-Erik?
Yes, at least I have one question. It's first of all the previous checks that we should have library, all kind of stuff into the system, are they still on, or is it a little bit relaxed, these previous checks?
So the state of the checker currently online is it knows nothing about Sprint 3 yet, because I haven't updated it. So the checker currently online only checks everything up to Sprint 2.3. And in Sprint 3, it is expected that you still support all of that, yes.
Okay.
I know, Jan-Erik, that you've done some, let's say, manual editing at some point. So just write in the pull request notes that you don't support, I don't know what was it, documentation information or something like that. And yes, you will get an X, but we will overrule it. No worries there.
Okay. Yeah, because we try to implement as we go on, but we are a little bit behind in the implementation.
No worries there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Understandable. So that's not a problem. As long as, so for any participant here, as long as you're transparent, as in what you understand, what you know that you don't support. So we know that the checker will complain. We will just overrule it. That's not a problem. And if you want to see the green tick, of course, manual editing is perhaps the only way to go there.
Yeah, and all this, that you should be positioned and represented relative to the other stuff, etc. That should, of course, be 100% in place then. But yeah, type object, for instance, is nothing we support, so that will just and will not support for a while. So
totally understandable. Yes, some of the requirements from previous sprints are, let's say, to introduce you to the topic, to introduce you to the capabilities of IFC. And of course, if some software does not support voxels, then we can't really expect them to implement voxels within the 2 months of our deployment. That's a given.
But in fact, that we managed to do that. So that was
amazing.
Not cheat. That is not cheating. In fact, that is some old stuff that we took away the dust on and activated again.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Called bricks. We call it bricks then.
You had it. You had bricks in there. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And then a related question, because now we have 3 main topics: excavation, system, and geology, geotechniques. And we will probably not focus so much on system because we don't support system in Quadri, at least not most of this. Will it be like 3 different checkers, or will we have a lot of missing stuff and we don't support everything?
So as it currently stands, the checker does complain, so to say, if he doesn't find, for example, an alignment horizontal and wants to do checks on them. But we will drop the, let's say, how strict it is. So he will still complain, but that will not constitute that you fail.
Okay.
And it's going to be one checker, so one rules them all. But the the technology behind it is constructed such a way that you can really pick the battle, so to say, pick the checks. So the applicability, so it is called, will be so strict that, of course, if there's not going to be a fire protection system within the file, then the file is still correct.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Because we probably will cherry pick some of these items, topics.
Understandable, yes.
So will that require, Stefan, that we may still have to overrule the results of the checker if the file submitted only deals with geotechnics concepts and nothing on the excavation? Would that still go through, or would we have to overrule it?
The goal is that will go through, yes. The goal
Okay.
is if, for example, a participant submits a file that let's say fulfills the geotechnics requirement, that the file will constitute a green tick.
Okay.
So
okay.
Also to all the participants, you're welcome to submit one file that supports all of that has all of the content. You can also submit a file per topic. Not a problem as well, in the same way as we also did, I think, georeferencing, where we had 3 different scenarios.
Yes.
And in the same manner, so the checker will be made in the same manner as the georeferencing scenarios were made. So, in the georeferencing sprint 1.2, there were 3 possibilities you could pick and choose. And if you've chosen one, the checker did not complain that you have not chosen the second.
Okay. Thank you. Jan-Erik, are you empowered by Artemis to ask questions on her behalf on the files she submitted?
Yeah, but we haven't really started the work yet. We just have a small touch after the last call.
Okay.
So she is occupied with some courses, holding courses, etc. So she will start when the vacation starts. She will start to dig into this, and of course, borehole is the core topic for them. Ground investigation boreholes is core for the Geosvit team. So for sure, she will work on this one.
Okay. But she had no question passed over to you for us.
No, not yet.
Okay.
And also read this at the bottom of the sprint documentation. We also said that, I mean, if there are, I mean, we picked certain concepts, right, that we are testing, but if there is something that you feel is really important and that your software really supports really good, then, I mean,
good extent.
Yes.
Yeah, that's only a subset again. Yeah.
And will this be presented in some way at the summit in Lillestrøm, or?
Has to.
I try to argue to get more resources to do development work, that this will be a showpiece at Lillestrøm.
I think it is planned that the project will conclude in Lillestrøm. So all the positive results will be, of course.
I can maybe give you a quick update on this as far as the agenda is concerned. We should have, besides a formal update and presentation, we should have a session dedicated for software vendors to present their results when they wish so. So in terms of what they have implemented, what's the outcome and so on. So I think we will be basically offering you all the opportunity to speak up, and first in, first served. You'll get the opportunity to present. So yes, please push for it.
That's good. Then I have some arguments.
Indeed. We need to open this officially. I haven't done this, but we need to. Yeah. Good. Adam, would you have any questions on the latest concepts, or even on previous concepts, as you wish?
Not especially. Just working through it all. aiming for some low-hanging fruit at the moment, but I was sort of just looking at what does it mean by a product span positioning?
Okay, yeah.
Last. What was that a question now? Yeah.
I think it was a question, yes.
Yeah. So product span positioning, that's sort of a concept that was introduced to, let's say, we have used it in a couple of places for tunneling. For example, the geotech people, they talk about their geotech typical section where you specify or convey certain information that is sort of valid for a certain longitudinal subsection of the alignment. So from station this to station that, you have these conditions. And in the same fashion, you could then, for example, specify, let's say in an early design stage, you could specify also support measures, for example, in the same way. So in that way, you get, I think that Jan Erik, for example, is very familiar with this concept. It's, you then end up with, let's say, overlapping longitudinal subsections of the alignment that where you can sort of compare, for example, geotechnical conditions with support measures, since you have these from and to sections of the alignment sort of overlapping, right? So it's just a way of specifying that from here to here we have this, whatever it is. So it's sort of a generic concept, but then we have applied it to a couple of really concrete situations for tunneling then. I don't know if that was, there is a figure somewhere which I draw in an issue. I can look it up and maybe that makes it even clearer. Yeah.
I mean, if you've got the figure, that would be fantastic. Yeah. So I presume based on that you would just sort of have some entity and you'd chuck it in that span positioning, and you wouldn't give it any geometry. You would just reference sort of that geometry between the two references.
Yeah, I mean that would be sort of the basic representation, that you wouldn't need any specific geometry for it.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But I'll look up that. I did sort of a schematic PowerPoint level figure of that, how it works. And I mean, from an IFC point of view, it's just, you have already dealt with IFC referent, which you can place along linearly, for example, along an alignment. So the span positioning just references two of these referents, one from referent and one to referent, to sort of specify the location of this entity.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lars.
Do you want to see a sketch of this in practice, or how it used in a presentation here with an AutoCAD drawing based on this information?
Please.
If you want to see how it's used, at least in the old days when they used drawings, and they still produce drawings, of course. So here, this one, here we can see this is an AutoCAD drawing. So then you have these are sections from two intervals along the alignment. And this is unfolded perspective of the tunnel tube. And this is rock support, and this is geology, geotechniques, and this is injection. And this table here is Q values. That is a parameter for the geology. And everything here is just from to change its value. And also we have some 4, 5, 6 different sections in the transverse direction, and so we can specify that rock support is only on the left wall, only in the vault, only on the right wall, etc. So this is the end result based on this IFC format. Cool. Real life, guys.
Good. Good. Excellent. Thanks, Henrik. If no other questions, would we want to just maybe go through Artemis file if you had a look at it, Lars?
I've just I just noticed it 5 minutes to 8, so I've just opened it and I saw there is an IFC file with a voxel grid in it, which she obviously made from this something she called bricks. You mentioned this, Jan-Erik. So
Yes.
I know nothing more than that. So,
but it passed.
It passed.
Yes, regarding that, it passed.
It passed earlier sprints, right?
It passed, and that's on me. It shouldn't have passed. I need to double check what's happening in the background. I have a hunch what is happening. I think the checker is not even running. Thus, GitHub doesn't get any failure reports. Does GitHub me thinks it's fine? I did not include the failsafe. Jan-Erik, if you speak, you're muted. I'm not sure what you said.
I just said that then we should hurry up and submit more files.
Yeah. Please do it now. Now you're going to get green ticks, of course.
And this annoying checker is out for lunch.
He's having his summer vacation. Yeah. So I need to double check what's happening there, and just manually scrolling to the file. I also found something, Lars, that we've been discussing already. I think the sizes of the voxel grid don't really make sense. I'm not sure, Jan-Erik, if
did she make maybe the same error as I did in my first attempt, perhaps?
I'm not sure. So I think in the voxel grid, right, you have the 3 X, Y, and Z sizes of the voxel, right?
Yes.
And then you need to provide as many booleans stating if a voxel is there or not. And her numbers are in the billions.
Okay.
All 3 dimensions, which mean the IC file should have been like really long one, but it isn't. So we really need to introduce that variable there. That would be a good one.
Yes.
So I'm not sure, Jan-Erik, perhaps this is also a comment that you can take with you, since you have a contact with the programmer. Let me show you what I mean. I'll share my screen. You should be seeing 3 numbers selected of a voxel grid.
Yeah.
So these 3 numbers are really huge integers.
Yes, obviously.
So, and the voxel grid should have them multiplied as many voxels, which of course I seriously doubt that you've made that happen in your internal model as well. That's a huge number.
It's Artemis that has done this. So I said to her, keep the number of bricks low. I think she could fix. She was able to fix that. So
the number
I will check.
Yeah, the number of true falses. Let's say there are 30 per line, and let's say there are about, I don't know, perhaps 200 lines. There should be like the product of these 3 numbers should be around, let's say, between 1,000 and 10,000. So just have a look at how you export these 3 numbers. Perhaps that's a floating number error or a conversion error or something in the background.
I will ask Artemis exactly how she did it, and then we can take it with the developer if it's a developer thing.
So just for your information, the first three there are the voxel sizes in X, Y, and Z. And the next three are the number of voxels in along each axis, X, Y, and Z. So total number of voxels should be number X times number Y times number Z, and that becomes a really huge number in this case. and then the last one is the array of booleans that just tells you if the voxel is actually there or not, or if it's just a void, right? So the number of T's and F's there should correspond to the product of the three previous.
Yes.
I mean, it's a very good test case if a werewolf multiplying these three numbers, if any programming language is even capable of computing that product. That's a very good challenge there, Jan Erik, that you produced.
Yeah, we need some Cray machine or something, you know, so. Oh, but
Yeah.
I will go back. It's I don't know if it's a user error or
Mhm,
programming error or
Yeah.
conversion file thing, or we find out.
Yeah, thank you.
Perhaps I would have maybe a short question to
Yes.
the voxels and voxel data from the standpoint of a developer and not an expert in tunnels. So I was wondering what kind of data is actually these integers or reals or that are stored in the, I think, voxel data entities, or I don't remember exactly. There is voxel grid and voxel data, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
that relates to subsoil characteristics, and these can be many in a cell. So they can qualify different characteristics of the subsoil.
Lars, where did we include IFC voxel data? Which step was it?
No, I don't think we have had voxel data yet. It's introduced now, so we have just had the geometry portion of it.
Right.
Because voxel data is then sort of for specific for the domain. Then.
So yeah. So Nadia, I'm posting in the chat the link that I'm looking at currently. So IFC voxel data documentation. Are you seeing this? Probably yes. And so the voxel data is, let's say, a parent class for IFC integer voxel data, IFC label voxel data, IFC logical voxel data, IFC real voxel data, IFC vector voxel data. So you have distinct subclasses for the individual data types, so to say. So, and if we look at, I don't know, let's say IFC integer voxel data, you have the values here.
Yes, so I was wondering what kind of values.
Yes, so so if you expand the attribute inheritance there, Stefan, so you have on voxel data level, you have, I mean, this is kind of meta level then. I mean, just to get it flexible, you have a name that you can provide for any type of voxel data, and you have the value type, which then references as a string, which you can of course discuss, the value type, which should be a type from the IFC value select type. So it's sort of the same scope then as property values in property sets, right? Also property values that you put in property sets use IFC value as the type of their values. So that's a way to sort of specify the semantics of what, for example, these integer values really mean. And then you have also for integer and for real and so on, you can also specify a unit. So that sort of provides more information then about what type of value this, for example, this integer value represents.
So usually it's as
So you can see it.
Michel said it's characteristics of the soil.
Yeah.
Some
So
kind of characteristic.
so one voxel data entity then describes values for some parameter for all the voxels in the voxel grid, right? And so it's kind of a similar mechanism then as property sets. So it's totally user defined in the end what the values actually represent. Because I mean, another option would be to have really specific voxel data types, but since there are many different parameters that they are collecting, a more sort of generic approach was selected for this.
And then you can have several voxel
Yeah,
model,
you can.
and
Yeah.
each model is coherent in the sense that all the cells in a particular model would carry the same type of parameters, and then the values would differ, but the parameters would be coherent within a voxel model.
Yes. And regarding the specific values, you will have to ask, or if you are yourself a geoscience expert, which I'm not.
I'm not either, so.
So that could be, for example, the percentage of the probability of presence of one particular subsoil type in this particular cell, and then the next one will have another probability of the same subsoil type, and the next cell will have another probability.
From my view, I view this as sort of the voxel grid itself defines geometry, so it defines the space which the voxel grid covers, but then what differs from a normal, let's say, solid geometry is that this space is not it varies in different places. So yeah, that's the way I sort of understand this.
And it contains a set of values per cell.
Yes,
That's it.
And just a small asterisk to the documentation that we're currently showing. This attribute has been removed because an IFC voxel data, since it inherits from IFC root, already has a name attribute. So we had a mistake there in our modeling, and it has been removed in pull request 5 to 7 on the IFC specification repository already some time ago. But we need to we need to regenerate documentation. So just imagine you don't see this 8th attribute here written. This is wrong.
Okay. Thanks for that. Jan-Erik had an issue posted. Have we addressed it? Was it so that you should extend the accepted geometries for 2.3?
I must admit I don't really remember
the point. My pull request for sprint 2.3 was okay, except for the geometries. I use IFC triangulated face set.
Yeah, and I think you fixed it because my file got through with green check.
Okay.
So maybe the checker was out for lunch, but I had some other errors.
So that's one issue we can close now.
Yeah, you can close it.
Okay, good. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Things that we would like to bring up? Stefan, Lars? Nope. Okay. Okay, then I think we can maybe adjourn. We are to regenerate the documentation, correct, Stefan? Is that something to come in the coming
That's exactly, that's on our to-do list to update the checker. So Jan Erik, I need to disappoint you. You got a green tick because yes, the checker was on holidays. So I will. There is a button. I'm not sure if you guys have the button, but I have a button that says rerun all jobs. So whenever I will update the checker, I'll rerun, and you're gonna get the correct results, and then we'll go from there.
Yep. Okay. Good.
So then maybe not close the issue just yet.
Yeah, maybe
yeah.
not.
Please wait with that. Yes.